Alright, after Vicente Luque's recent loss at UFC Atlantic City, I thought it would be a bit fun to go through and create a bit of a who has lost the eye of the tiger tier list, okay? Because Vicente Luque essentially just gave up during that fight. And that really is what losing the eye of the tiger is, isn't it? It's about being locked in, eyes on the prize, pure hunter mode, you know what I'm saying? And then just eventually becoming so successful or suffering such a huge damage like Vicente Luque that you just do not have that killer instinct in you anymore. Pretty sure it's because of Rocky 3 that we all know exactly what eye of the tiger in combat sports means. And today, we're going to be throwing together a bit of a tier list to see who has lost the eye of the tiger the most. So, number one, starting off with the inspiration for this video. It's got to be Vicente Luque, right? Like Vicente Luque, he's lost the eye of the tiger because we know that he has had so many wars in the past. He would be known for biting down his mouthguard and just getting in there, going for that slugfest. And after that horrific brain injury that he had, the real question was, does Vicente still have it? And we thought after his recent win that, yeah, he does. It's still in there. I mean, you just look back to his wars with Brian Barberena and you know that that man had killer instinct. But he seems to have just given up. He just straight up gave up against Joaquin Buckley. He took himself down. He had the feet on the hips. He didn't bother trying to scooch out. Now, this is the thing with Vicente Luque. I can understand why he is now an A tier lost the eye of the tiger. Because, I mean, look at the injury, right? Like, I wouldn't want to go back into the cage. I don't want to go into the cage now, let alone knowing that, you know, the next punch could be the one that kills me. So I don't blame him for losing the eye of the tiger. But he is an A tier lost the eye of the tiger. Let's continue on with the Atlantic City references, okay? Herbert Burns. Now, you can say, from being carried out of the arena by his brother early on in his career, did Herbert Burns ever really have the eye of the tiger? Like, did he ever think that he was going to go ahead and become a UFC champion? I don't know. And I don't think he did, mate. I think that he sort of just followed his brother along to training, and Gilbert fell into the UFC, became a UFC fighter, and Herbert Burns just sort of went along with it. Like, I'm going to put Herbert Burns all the way down at absolute F tier for losing the eye of the tiger, because I don't think he ever had it, to be honest. Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa. He used to have it, right? He shocked the world when he knocked out Derek Lewis. Nobody thought he was going to climb the rankings that much. And even earlier in his career, or around that time in his career, you know, he moved all the way across the world to Abu Dhabi or Dubai to have a solid locked-in training camp. There was a time where Tai Tuivasa really believed that he was going to be the heavyweight world champion of the world. He was going to absolutely go for it. He was giving everything to it. And then he fought that gutsy performance against Cyril Gane, which in hindsight, now we all know, should have just taken Cyril Gane down. He didn't. He ended up losing it. It was a gutsy one. But now, you look at where he went from those heights, knocking out Derek Lewis, moving out of Australia to have solid training camps, standing and banging with Cyril Gane, to now his most recent main event. There were videos circulating around on Instagram and Twitter of him in the clubs already sinking beers. We're talking 1 week out from a UFC main event. I know it's only at the Apex, but still, it's a main event. You've got the entire UFC marketing machine behind you, and he's out there drinking and not caring at all before that. B tier. He has lost the eye of the tiger for sure. That is a B tier loss of the eye of the tiger. Kevin Holland. Did he ever have it? Did he ever have the eye of the tiger? Did he ever think that he was going to go on a title run? Maybe he did. Maybe at the start, you know, he thought that he was going to be the next big thing. But then we all learned that Kevin Holland is much like Cyril Gane. Just take him down. Just take him down and hold him down, and he cannot win. But he seemed to become so popular so quickly that the UFC put him on a tasty little contract. And now, for Kevin Holland, it's easy to just show up against JDM and MVP and have fun battles with Wonderboy, but he doesn't really need to go and fight for the championship anymore. This is the perfect example of why you do not ever put your fighters on a living wage, UFC. Never do it. Because if you do, they're happy to just rock up once a year and lose. I'm going to be putting Kevin Holland on the D tier Because I don't know if he ever had the eye of the tiger, really. Dominick Cruz. Dominick Cruz was a champion for so long and constantly talked about coming back once he lost the title, right? Plus, he had all those injuries for years and years, and he was single-handedly fighting the war, fighting the narrative of ring rust. Everyone would be talking about ring rust, and Dominick Cruz would be like, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And he battled his way all the way back, came back, fought Henry Cejudo, and lost it, and would have burnt the world down to convince us that that was an early stoppage. And Keith Peterson is full of nonsense, is constantly smelling like beer and ciggies, like heading down to the station with ciggies in a brown paper bag, mate. That's Keith Peterson, not no nonsense. Then he gets his head kicked in by Marlon Vera, and since then, not a peep from Dominick Cruz, which is odd because he's on the bloody ESPN desk talking to us all the time, but there is still not a peep from him. It's weird. It's like he knows what he needs to do. He knows that he needs to now fight two hard up-and-coming contenders below him in the rankings, but he doesn't want to do it, and it's so weird because he's healthy now. He's old, but he's healthy, but he's fallen off. He has lost the eye of the tiger. He is an A-tier fall off. An A-tier lost the eye of the tiger. That is classic Dominick Cruz. Tony Ferguson. Where does he land on the list? You know what? Tony Ferguson is F tier because he will never lose the eye of the tiger. No matter how much Tony Ferguson gets his head kicked in, he will keep rocking up. He will keep saying at every single pre-fight interview that this camp he's gone back to old school and found the old Tony and that he's never felt better. And this time we're going in there to just cheese up some caked tiramisu. And everyone's going to be like, what did he say? And don't worry about it. It's Tony Ferguson. We're having a good time. Tony Ferguson will never lose the eye of the tiger. He could be 85 years old in a retirement home, still throwing that baseball around, being like, I gave those fights away. I wanted them to have a win against me. We love Tony Ferguson, but he needs to lose the eye of the tiger. F tier for Tony Ferguson. Ciryl Gane. And Ciryl Gane's not just making this list because I needed someone to go at C tier. Ciryl Gane. He's on the list because he sort of is a bit of a C tier, right? All he wants is title shots, so he still has his eyes on the prize. But he only wants he doesn't want to fight contenders. He doesn't want to fight any contenders. He just wants to sit around and fight for the title once a year. Very strange behavior from Ciryl Gane. So he is going in C tier. He knows he wants the title. He just doesn't want to put in the work for the title. Probably because he's French. They're soft. They're soft people, the French. But then that means who is S tier? Who is the biggest fall off? The one that has lost the eye of the tiger the most, right? From the highest highs to wanting to be a multiple division championship, wanting to go and test himself at boxing, wanting to even win a championship at 170, calling himself the game, not just here for the game, but he thinks he is the game, right? Saying that we're here to take over, being so hungry he actually looks malnourished, fighting through injuries to win himself a title, but never ever defending one. From all of that, from looking down a grim life of being a plumber, literally handling other people's shit for minimum wage. Sorry, plumbers. To silk sheets, training on a yacht, cheating on his wife constantly with, it seems like, whoever he wants, coked up, boozed up, and saying that if the UFC want to re-sign him, it comes with a B now, as in $1 billion, not just $1 million. Conor McGregor is the S tier eye of the tiger fall off. No one in this game, in MMA, has ever had their focus so locked in and then lost it so much like Conor McGregor. He is the absolute S tier eye of the tiger fall off. That's it. That's the entire video. Who do you think could have made this list? Would you change anything about these rankings? Let me know down there in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And of course, I'll see you all in the next one.